Now, listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it. It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
Good afternoon. 7 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 27th day of June in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Thanks for being here with us this afternoon. I love my job, and I love you being a part of it. So this weekend, one of the things that I gave thanks for to God is you. No, not you, Frank. I gave thanks for those people who have tried out the show and have been bold enough to come back and tell me things that they would like to see we could do differently, things that they didn't like very much, and obviously things that they love a lot. I think the best email I got over the weekend, by the way, thank you for your emails. I want you to know that I open all my emails and read them myself. Now, maybe to think of anything else makes me sound arrogant. I just know that most people who do what I do have somebody to read the emails, sort through them, and then send me the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it would be. For me, I want the bad, I want the good, and everything else, and I want them in that order. I'd rather have an email who criticizes the show on how to give me input on how we can do it better than somebody who just goes on and on about how wonderful it is. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate your accolades, I appreciate your affirmation, and I need to hear those. But the one I got that I love the most, and I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry. It said something like, well, it's taken me a while to get used to the show, but it's really warming up to me now. And I love that. I just love that. Because that's the kind of show this is. This is not like a preacher who, you're going to consistently get a message spirited in the gospel, and you pretty much know where the boundaries are. There are no boundaries in Mac's world. Now, obviously, there's common sense. We don't use foul language. We don't smear other people. We don't crawl on the back of other people to make ourselves seem taller or bigger or better. So I appreciate that you give us a shot because it is consistently inconsistent. And its inconsistency is part of our charm. I don't want you to absolutely know exactly what you're going to get when you turn on the radio. If you're a fan of mine, on most days I post by mid-morning what we'll be talking about that today, but not all days. So, thank you. A little bit later, we're going to be talking about whether you should be able to seek legal retribution from a physician who misdiagnoses you. From a physician who tells you one thing and the opposite ends up being true. I'm not saying there's lying going on. I don't think doctors lie. I don't think this really isn't about doctors. I mean, should you be able to sue an attorney if you lose a case? If the doctor tells you that you can't get pregnant, there's no way, and you end up getting pregnant, is there recourse? We're going to talk about that a little bit later today. Bob Monster at the Cat in the Hat watching the chat and the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993. Frank is here. Chris Roloff is here. My excellent producer, Jebediah, is here. And I want to read you some of the news stories that are happening right now to you. Dateline Urbandale, or as I like to say, Urbandale. I want you to know, before Chris Roloff moved to Urbandale, it was a nice, safe, quiet, family-oriented neighborhood. But once you moved in, Roloff, all the trouble started.
All downhill.
Urbandale residents experienced several burglaries Friday morning, police said in a news release. The Urbandale Police Department said there have been 4 confirmed burglaries and over a dozen attempted residential burglaries in the general area of 86th and 92nd Streets, though some were reported outside this exact location. Detectives are investigating the situation. Urbandale police are stepping up patrol during the overnight hours as a result. We encourage all residents to ensure your residence is secured, to include all doors, ground level windows, garage doors, and all vehicles. Garage door opener should be brought inside if your vehicle is parked outside of the garage. We also encourage residents to lock the door leading inside their residence from the garage. The public is asked to remain vigilant and to report anything suspicious. So how's that make you feel? That's in your neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. So how's that make you feel? It's obvious at night.
Right.
And these people are obviously getting into these houses through windows, doors, you know, all I'm not saying all the different ways, but I specifically like the part about the garage door opener. So that tells me maybe there's some access was gained because the car was parked outside and they saw the garage door opener and they hit it and boom, they walked in. So how does that ring to you, Mr. Roloff?
Well, I have a guard cat. I don't know if you've seen my cat, Oli. He's very aggressive. When he runs under the couch and hides, it's amazing.
And
lightning speed.
North of how much?
He's north of about 3 pounds. Okay. He's a little older than a kitten.
But he's got claws.
On the back. See, that's the thing. Oh, now I've given it away. He doesn't have front claws, so he's only half of a tiger. But to be honest with you, that is a little disturbing. Urbandale's not the kind of place you think for a lot of break-ins. And that's, you said just west of 86th is what you said?
They said, I didn't say anything. I read in the general area of 86th and 92nd Streets.
Okay, yeah, so west of 86th.
So that would be quite west of you, wouldn't it?
It would be, but still, I mean, it's not like Urbandale, big town.
Well, that's a mile from where you live?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, how about you, Frank? What if this was your neighborhood and this came out?
Actually, my poor neighborhood is probably one of the safer neighborhoods around. It's not that bad a place.
Robert, this is 4 miles from you.
Well, I've had things stolen out of my car.
Oh, that's right.
In front of the house. Yeah. Even when I was just in for 15 minutes.
Yeah. I can tell you're all braver than I am. If this was my neighborhood, man, that'd get to me. I mean, I'm just sitting here feeling my stomach, and I'm replacing 86th and 92nd Streets with the area that I live in.
Right.
Conceal to carry.
No, these are burglaries.
Right.
Well, when they make this announcement, like you did on the radio and the paper published it, that tells people to be on alert. So it's going to make it harder for these people to do their bad work.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, especially the garage door opener tip. That's a good one. That's a good one because I think those are usually easy to spot in people's cars. We lock, which is advisable, which it recommends.
Right.
Lock the door still into your house. We do that anyway. You got to remember, Mac. Part of the reason why I'm probably not as freaked out about it is we become a very large city. So if you live in a larger metropolitan area, you lock all your doors and windows and all that stuff normally anyway. I'm used to having the house all locked up.
Like Dallas?
Sure, yeah. Not to say that crime doesn't make you, breathe in, breathe out, but we've
well, the fact that we lock means that we don't trust.
Right.
So, a lot of people over the years in the farmsteads and all never locked. Left their keys in the ignition, blah blah blah. Now no one does that.
Right. I have a good friend who lives in county, not in one of the major cities, but lives up in that area. And whenever I visited his house and I locked the doors to my car, he was offended. He said, "This is, X town. That's just rude. Nothing bad ever happens here." And I was like, I'm from the land of you lock everything up.
I always figured it was cheaper to not lock your car because I would rather not have the broken windows and the messed up locks.
Oh, just let them have it.
All right. Vice President Branstad, when asked at his weekly news conference whether he'd consider joining a Trump ticket, he declined to answer with he decided to answer with an emphatic, I'm not saying that right.
Apathetic?
EMPHATIC. No. Emphatic. No. But said he didn't want to get into that type of speculation. He says he's honored to serve the people of Iowa, and he is not intending to be a candidate for national office. Branstad says he's offered to advise Trump on renewable fuels, including ethanol and wind energy, and the Republican Party's presumptive nominee has indicated an interest in working with Branstad on those issues. Of course, Branstad's 40-year-old son, Eric, is the Trump campaign's state director in Iowa.
Is that
Branstad, who has endorsed Trump, doesn't complete his current term as governor until 2019.
Last time I saw Terry, he didn't look like he was doing real well health-wise, so I would be surprised that anybody would even speculate that he'd be running for vice president.
There's Dr. Frank's opinion.
Yeah, Dr. Frank.
Looking at somebody from a distance and determining.
I saw him at the Lincoln dinner, and he did not look very stable afoot.
I can also tell you that Chris would never let it happen. Chris barely let him run for 2 more terms. Not you, his wife.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. He called me the other day. Said, "What do you think? Should I do it?" I said, Terry, it's just not your deal.
He's not running for governor again.
There you go.
You love the people of Iowa. That's what he told me on the phone. He said, Chris, I love the people of the state of Iowa so much. And I said, Terry, that's the way I've always thought of you, as a man of the people, man of the Iowa people.
All right, when we come back, warning from the Johnston police on ATM fraud case that's going on. And should Texas succeed from the union?
Don't mess with Texas.
What Britain just did, Texas could do. Yep. We'll talk about it when we come back next, live on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
21 minutes after 3:21. Glad to tell you that I toured 7 different properties over the weekend that I'm thinking about, and Seth Walker was awesome. I mean, I wouldn't talk about this guy if I didn't use him. You understand that, don't you? I'm not going to tell you somebody knows what they're doing and then not try them out myself. That's not what I do. So anyway, Seth is a great guy. He's a professional real estate agent. He gets me what I need when I need it. Not that I'm that demanding. I'm sorry, all the mirrors in Radioland just broke because I lied. I'm a little demanding when it comes to professional relationships. That's why I have no friends, because they're all professional relationships. No, that's all right. All right, Johnston police are attempting to identify, just one more time, Seth Walker, 577-3728, and that's for you, Matt Olson. Johnston police are attempting to identify a person in connection with an ATM fraud case at the Viridian Credit Union on Northwest 86th Street. Jiminy Christmas.
What happened to my neighborhood?
I know. Really. According to police, a Johnston resident used the ATM at the Viridian Credit Union on the 12th of June, but neglected to completely close out of the transaction before driving away. This allowed the next person that used that ATM to access the victim's account and make a cash withdrawal. Police are attempting to identify a person seen on surveillance images so they can be questioned about the case. The person was driving a 4-door Chevy sedan at the time of the transaction. Come on, you walk up. Seriously, you go up to an ATM and the darn thing's open and you steal money and you don't think you're going to get caught?
I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do this. You got a text from the Service Legend is Truth text line at 515-809-0993.
It's about the crime in Urbandale.
Okay.
It says the biggest crime in Urbandale was last year's fireworks disaster. Let's hope they get it right this year.
I don't remember what the disaster was. Do you?
I don't either. We had just moved.
I think it was poor.
Was it just a bad show?
Yes.
Was that what it was? All right. Well, Governor Branstad back in the news one more time in Mac's World today. Texas should not be allowed to succeed from the United States because the C in succeed is an S. I want you to know that. Succeed.
So it's not succeed, so it's secede.
Secede.
Yeah.
Rude debate over the issue following Britain's vote last week. This, says Iowa Terry Branstad. No, we are not the European Union. We are the United States of America, and this is a unified country, Branstad told reporters Monday at his weekly news briefing. But we are also a federalist system, and one of the concerns that a lot of people in Texas have and a lot of people in Iowa have, good job, Branstad, whip it in Iowa. A lot of people in Texas and Iowa have is that the direction that this country has been going is that we are seeing the states' rights being whittled away by the federal government, by actions of the administration, and by the courts. And there is great concern among many states, including people throughout the United States, on that issue. So, here's my first question of the day. Should Iowa secede from the Union? And why? Come on. Branstad's right. Not in saying that we should secede, but in saying that the states' rights are being trampled by a president, an administration, the courts, and by a lot of people. And there's a great concern among many states, including Iowa, and throughout the United States on that issue. I mean, I don't know if you realize how powerful state rights are supposed to be, but basically, we can do anything we want as the state of Iowa. Now, what's the biggest overseer of the state's assets and resources? You. Not the governor. Not the lieutenant governor. Not the police. Not the Iowa Supreme Court. You. Are you speaking up? Why is it that they can mandate to us how fast we can drive on our roads? Well, you say they can't. And I say, well, if you don't do what they tell you to do, what do, Frank?
They blackmail your highway funds.
Yeah. Millions and millions and millions of dollars that we depend on to keep our roads, our bridges, our towns safe. Fine, then won't give you your federal money.
Same thing if you don't name a street after a certain particular leader.
Here's another example. The blood alcohol level. Why have we gone from 0.16 to 0.08 in a matter of 15 years? And I'm not saying it shouldn't be lower, but we didn't get to choose what it was. The federal government did because they said they would pull federal funds if we didn't do that. Seatbelt laws. You know how many millions of dollars we don't get in this state because we won't do the federally mandated motorcycle law? Millions. But there are so many people that ride motorcycles in Iowa. I mean, we're a big motorcycle state.
Yep.
That if the government, if we were to if we were to decide that we would apply and adopt the helmet law that the federal government wants us to have, there'd be a lot of Iowans that'd really go nuts. I mean, I don't think it'd be pretty. I really don't. You don't mess with motorcycle guys. If they want to ride down the road with their hair whipping in the wind,
I mean, look at Bob. He rides a motorcycle. He's frightening.
You wear a helmet. He wears a helmet.
I do.
He's
wear
a smart
helmet.
man. He wears a helmet. Smart men wear helmets.
My head has hit the pavement in the past. So.
Ouch! Now we know what's wrong.
Yeah, I had a helmet on.
Oh,
and that saved it.
What do you think would have happened? Bad?
Oh yeah, it would have been bad.
Well, I'm glad you wear your helmet. So, should we secede?
No, we should elect leaders who understand the importance of states' rights.
But it's not okay. But it's Chris. It's not the state leaders.
No, I know. It's the federal leaders. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I thought you meant.
We're looking at electing the next president of the United States. We should be trying to elect someone who understands states' rights. Do you got anybody running that really is a small government states' rights person?
The states head of the government.
515-244-0077. That's the studio line. And you can also get a hold of us at the Service Legends Truth text line at 1-809-0993.
Yeah, we have a text that says, "Thanks, Mac." That was 2 minutes ago. So try to remember what you said 2 minutes ago.
Just say you're welcome. It's probably easier.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
If you'd like to say on there what you're thanking me for, I would appreciate it. But it's okay. You're welcome. Thank you
for just being you.
Man, it's Monday. See, here's Frank. If you lifted up Frank's shirt just a little bit on the right side about the hip, there's a coin slot. And the more quarters you put in the coin slot, the happier, outspoken.
Bob keeps feeding the quarters in me over here.
Bob, it's like feeding the dog under the table. See, because where I sit, I can't see that. You ever done that at the kitchen table because your wife or your mom or your dad or somebody said you can't feed the dog? So you take food down off and you put it down there and then the dog eats it and, you're the hero at the table. Bob keeps feeding quarters into Frank. All right. I'd like to talk about this the next half hour if we could. But I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need your phone calls. I'm going to need your input. So, his mother is reportedly suing her doctor for the stress caused by an unplanned pregnancy. Lori Shivik went to her doctor in 2008 to have her tubal ligation, which is also known as having your tubes tied. Shivik's doctor, I'm not pronouncing that. Let's just say Jones. Jones's doctor reportedly said her tubes were blocked and she had no chance of getting pregnant and did not need birth control. 3 years later, she gave birth to a child who has Down syndrome, that according to the report. Jones is now suing for wrongful conception. I've never heard that term. I've never heard. There you go, folks. You just learned something today in Mac's World. Wrongful conception. According to a report, wrongful conception is a medical malpractice claim that arises from the neglect performance of a sterilization procedure, according to the University of Missouri School of Law. So that's a real deal. This is really close to a medical malpractice case. Jones, who is now 50 and raising a special needs child, is seeking damages for the emotional distress caused by the unplanned pregnancy. She is not suing for wrongful birth, which is a claim that a healthcare provider has breached a duty subsequent to conception that results in the birth of an abnormal child. She's not doing that. All right, 515-244-0077. Let's go to the phones and find out what you think. Hi, you're live in Mac's World. Who's this?
Is this me? Is this Tim?
This is you, Tim.
Usually you say, hi, Tim. Welcome.
Well,
So
I didn't have the window open that had your name on it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
My bad.
all right.
So,
All right.
Tim, how are you? What you say?
Well, kind of all over here today, Mac. I please don't have the recording part of this on that I agree with Frank.
Oh, yeah, no.
That ever happened.
No, we would never. No. Jebediah, that's a promo, okay? Yeah, no, we never. We run 60, 80 promos a week. It hardly might once, twice, 3 times a lady. Go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Well, you guys are talking about states' rights, and, I'm sitting here sort of wanting to bang my head against hard objects here over this Supreme Court ruling. I don't know if you guys touched on that at all. That struck down the Texas laws that said that abortion clinics needed to have hospital admitting privileges within 30 minutes of their facility, as well as meeting the same standards as other surgical centers in the state. And that was struck down as unconstitutional because it put an undue burden on women's right to kill their children. So
You got to be kidding me.
Nope.
An undue burden on the rights of women to kill their children.
Well, that's how I say it. That's not how they put it in their decision, but yes.
Oh, so we're in the Tim Overland spin zone.
Well, the only thing I changed was I actually said what the word abortion means. Everything else, they said it placed an undue burden on women's right to get an abortion.
All right. Well,
so, to me, that hopefully will lay this down. You guys are just talking about states' rights. This would be the point to where Governor Abbott would stand up and say, well, thank you for sharing, but that's an opinion that we will not abide. And, if we had more governors, down to the sheriff, actually the sheriff has a lot more power. If we had more people like that would stand up and stand up against those decisions and, wean ourselves off of the federal trough and start keeping our money here as opposed to sending it there to get washed and sent back, then maybe we'd have a little more say, a little more power in what goes on in our state.
I like the cut of your jib there, Mr. Overland. Thank you very much for calling. 515-244-0077. A 50-year-old woman. We're just going to call her Mrs. Jones because I can't pronounce her last name. Had a tubal ligation, which you and I call the tubes are tied. And the doctor was quoted as saying, no chance of ever getting pregnant. Well, she got pregnant. And now she's suing for for wrongful conception. Frank?
She committed the unpardonable sin in health. That's not to seek a second opinion.
Ah. Well, what about, did she mess with God's plans to have a baby? Obviously, yes, right? 515-244-0077. It's your voice I want to hear. Carrie, you're next, live on The Truth.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs,
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
3:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour. Top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News. And then it's Dan Nichols. Guy serves his country. You've heard about all the problems with the VA. Wait till you hear the experience Dan had. I think you're going to enjoy the conversation. That's next hour here live on The Truth. So a mother is suing her doctor for wrongful conception, which is actually a law in this country. Wrongful conception. Because the doctor gave her a tubal ligation, which you and I call having her tubes tied. And guess what? She got pregnant. Should she have the right to sue her doctor? If your doctor comes along and tells you that that you just have a cold and it ends up that you've got something much, much worse, should you be able to take him to court? It's your voice I want to hear. 515-244-0077. And the Truth Talk text line at 515-809-0993. Let's go to the phones where Carrie is standing by. Carrie, you're live in Mac's World. How you doing?
I'm just thinking, Danny Mac. How are you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you? How's the pizza business?
Pizza business is crazy busy.
This is my buddy from Northern Lights Pizza, Carrie, and his wife Hippo. He calls her Hippo, and she lets me call her Hippo. So
yeah, well, it's because she's got little ears and a big mouth.
Well, she's probably not 100 pounds wet, and he calls her Hippo. All right, go ahead, Carrie.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you this thing about states' rights. And I think a lot of things are lost in history and are dumbing down of our kids. They're not learning history. But if you read history and study the way the Constitution came together, it was a big fight about this, even on the day the Constitution was drafted. And the Constitution was originally written so that the senators were elected or appointed, rather, by the state legislatures and went to Washington, D.C. to represent the rights of the state entity. Well, that got bastardized, and they changed the wrote an amendment to the Constitution, and now senators are directly elected. So basically, we now have two houses of representatives. And I believe that was really the slippery slope that we went down to erode states' rights. Now that people can vote for both halves of the piggy bank.
Hey, Kerry, do you remember when that changed?
It was, I believe it was in the early Wilson era, Woodrow Wilson era, era.
Sure.
With the beginning of the progressive movement, I think these people realized that they weren't going to get control of a massive federal government unless they dismantled state rights. And I believe it's not the 14th Amendment, but it's right in that area, right? In that area, it was pretty early on in the amendment world.
Well, it shows you how much I know about the American political history. I guess I didn't realize. So what I understand you saying is that senators were not elected by guys like me. They were appointed by the state legislator, federal senate,
Correct.
right? I didn't
So we
know.
would have voted to elect a state legislature. They would appoint a senator who would serve 6 years, and his job was to represent the interests of the state of Iowa, not the interest of Chris Roloff, not the interest of Kerry Peterson, or J. Michael McCoy, or anybody. They were to represent the interest of the state of Iowa entity. And that got dismantled. And now you basically have two, the Congress was initially set up to represent the voice of you, me, Mac, Bob, Frank, everybody. You elect those guys, and they're accountable every 2 years. And the Senate was the body that was represented the actual state. And also, and so that amendment needs to be repealed, and it needs to be repealed quick, or we're going to lose our country. And I think another now this one will really get me in hot water, but I don't care. People that know me know this. I say what I think. I don't care what you think. The other thing that was very apparent early on was it used to be that you had to be a landowner to be able to vote. In other words, you had to have skin in the game. If you weren't a landowner, you couldn't go and vote into somebody else's pocket. But now you can. And so now you've got both houses of Congress saying, what can I give you? How can I buy your vote with max money?
Kerry, so Romney wasn't so far off with his 47% comment then, right?
No, he was dead on. It's probably higher now.
Yeah.
They say the government that robs Peter to pay Paul can always depend on the support of Paul.
The 47% comment that he made, that basically there's 47% that have basically no skin in the game and will vote for the Democrat no matter what.
And that's
exactly. That's a true statement. They'll vote for Republican if they got their shoving it out too.
All right, Kerry, you are you're a patriot, man, and you're a Jesus lover, and you're a wonderful father, and a wonderful husband, and a wonderful friend. And I thank you for being in my life.
He makes terribly good pizza. Good pizza.
I mean, really good. Really good.
Hey, Kerry, I forgot I was going to call you the other day. Guess what I got to have for Father's Day? My wife said, whatever you want for Father's Day. And I said, no joke, Northern Lights Pizza brought to my house right to me. It was wonderful. Thank you so much for providing that, sir.
Now,
hey, no problem.
I would imagine that you heard about this because it was your pizza delivery person that had to walk up to the house with Chris Roloff sitting in his white tighties on a chair in the front yard, and the big sign above him said, "Feed me."
Yeah.
So
we'll work for food.
Yeah, we'll work for food. All right, Kerry, thanks, buddy. 515-244-0077.
You know what? If my wife would have let me, I would have much rather had it delivered just like that to me. But no, we wanted to respect our neighbors.
515-244-0077. That's where you can speak your voice. And if you'd like to just tell us something on the Truth text line, you just, and I hope you have this in your phone. I hope somewhere it's Max World Text. And that's 515-809-0993. Maybe you don't want to comment here, but one day you will, and you won't be able to find the number, and you'll have to go to the website, and by the time you finally get called in or text in, we'll be on another subject. So it's important. At least I think it is. And yes, it is in my phone, even though I have it memorized backwards and frontwards. 3990908. But it's actually 809-0993.
Now, the first time you read the story about the woman who got pregnant.
Yeah, Mrs. Jones, 50 years old, has a tubal ligation. No chance, the doctor says, you don't need birth control. And guess what happens? She has a baby, and she's now suing for wrongful conception. And yes, that is a law.
I thought the story read that he advised her against the tubal ligation because she couldn't get pregnant. Was that the story originally?
No.
Or?
Well, the doctor reportedly said her tubes were blocked and she had no chance of getting pregnant and did not need birth control. 3 years later, she gave birth to a child.
Well, it sounds like to me this is just a case of medical malpractice. I mean, basically, if I go to the doctor and I want them to take my leg, I want them to amputate my leg, and they don't do it or they amputate the wrong one, I can sue them for malpractice. Same thing here, I think. Right? I mean, she asked that her tubes be tied so that she would not get pregnant anymore, and the surgery didn't work.
Well, and that's my question today. You know, can you go in to a physician? Let's say you go in and you get a scan, and it shows no cancer, and so you go on your merry way.
Yeah.
And 30 days later, you're visiting somebody in Texas, and you have pain, and you go to the doctor, and they run a test, and you're filled with cancer. And there's no way it just showed up in 30 days. Are you able to go back to that doctor or turn it around the other way? I'm sorry, you've got cancer. It's first stage. It's not very bad, but you've got cancer. Here's how we're going to treat it. And then you find out later on, never had cancer. He made a mistake. She made a mistake. They made a mistake. And all the stress and worry that you go through in your life, knowing that now you have cancer.
One of the interesting opinions I have about lawsuits, especially some of that kind of lawsuit, Mac, is it's a choice that you make. You can choose to sue someone or not. I mean, it's kind of up to you, right?
Yeah, but, you know, if you give some attorneys the right to sue for anything, you know what they're going to do?
Sue.
For anything.
Yeah.
All right. Taking our break, coming back, your last chance to get in on this conversation. And then next hour, Dan Nichols served his country faithfully and strongly and with great courage. And then came home and relied upon the VA for his health care. Wait till you hear the story next.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News. And then a gentleman by the name of Dan Nichols. Dan and I have... Dan, turn on Dan's mic for me, would you? Dan, how long have you and I known each other?
Mac, I'm going to say
30 years?
30 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Through business and personal relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And you are a vet. You served in what branch? You got to come up on the mic for me.
I was in the Navy for 10 years.
All right. And next hour, you're going to tell us your experience that you had with the VA. And I appreciate you being courageous enough to come in and talk about it. All right. Hey, there's something going on, and I want you to be a part of it. Now more than ever, we need a revival in this country. We've all said it. Everybody knows we need a revival. Why is it that we never gather around and talk about this and really pray about it? Well, you're going to get a chance to do that at the Family Leadership Summit 2016 on Saturday, July 9th here in Des Moines. The event will feature Anne Graham Lotz, war room actor T.C. Stallings, biblical worldview expert Dr. Del Tackett. He's the guy that did the Truth Project, and much more. Del is just a rocket. He's going to be on the radio, I think, this Wednesday. Get your tickets today at thefamilyleader.com, and please join us. All right, 515-244-0077. That's the number you can call if you want to chime in on this. A doctor told a woman that she could not get pregnant. No chance, that her tubes were blocked. And 3 years later, she gives birth to a child at age 50. She's now suing the doctor for wrongful conception. Wrongful conception is a medical malpractice claim that arises from the negligent performance of a sterilization procedure. It's very, very close to a medical malpractice case. Have you ever had anything like that happen? Anybody in this room had anything like that happen? I haven't either. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't. I've never had the doctor tell me something that later on then came back. We were talking some time ago when my wife and I decided there was going to be no more babies. I went and got the operation because oh man, I didn't want my wife on birth control pills. That's just a lot of stuff that you put in your body. And if we knew we weren't going to have any more children, then why have her put chemicals and pharmaceuticals in her body when I could just snip?
Which can cause cancer.
What can?
The chemicals that a woman's put in her body can cause cancer.
Well, you know what I heard the other day? Just what I heard, that they're beginning to think that deodorant, underarm deodorant, is beginning to leak into some of the lymph nodes above the breasts on a woman, and that it's increasing the cause of breast cancer. That just simply what's in the deodorant.
Sure, that's the point. It kind of depends on what's in there. If you're putting, depends on what's in the deodorant.
Yeah, there's also the antiperspirants. Antiperspirants contain aluminum,
right,
which they also say could be a cause for Alzheimer's.
Really?
Yeah, they have high aluminum in the brain of those patients.
Yeah, there's lots of more natural ways to keep your pits from stinking, by the way.
How else? Like what?
Well, I use a natural deodorant.
Yeah, you never smell.
Right. When I had less money and couldn't afford the fancy stuff, to believe it or not, like baby powder or like a Gold Bond powder, something like that, it actually helps a lot.
Okay. Robert, where else do we get aluminum?
Aluminum foil, aluminum cookware.
No. How do we get aluminum in our body?
If you cook food in aluminum pans, it gets into your food.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just like Teflon. Some people, Teflon is bad too for you.
Yeah.
If you want to get into the health stuff. But sometimes people don't throw their pans away enough because the aluminum leaches in to the cooking sequence.
Well, obviously, when you're scraping a spoon or stirring a spoon around, you're potentially scraping the bottom of the pan and creating them fragments into your...
that too. So, yeah, you can get it that way. But it depends where they put it. But it's in antiperspirants, and, of course, your armpits are very good absorbers of chemicals that you put on it.
Jill King says, I read that the deodorant is a problem if there is a cut after shaving. The woman shaves her armpits. So, shave in the evening, deodorize in the morning. That's interesting. I had never heard that before. Don't you think someday, we're going to be told the truth about what we're putting in our bodies with the chemicals, the preservatives in pop, in water, in beef.
They're doing that now.
Are they doing that now?
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of people that are talking about the processed foods, the chemicals that are in there, what's causing cancer, like Frank was talking about. It's already out there. It's just a matter of researching that.
I think the funny thing is, well, not the funny thing is, the reality is people don't want to know that, though. I mean, people just like eating what they like eating. We like ingesting what we like ingesting, and I really don't want to be bothered by the health factors of it, let's be honest.
That's right.
Bacon isn't particularly healthy for any of us, but who's going to give it up?
Because of the nitrates?
Well,
nitrates are bad. I mean, that's for sure.
The carcinogens from the smoking process, the chemicals for preservation, all kinds of things.
I know, and I do not read labels. I do not. I mean, I'm barely. If Hy-Vee didn't tell me how much it was per ounce or per serving, I wouldn't even know if it was a good deal. But I have stopped eating. I have mostly stopped eating things out of cans. I can't. This food is in this can for up to how many years? And they assume that it's going to be in there for up to how many years? And I don't want my pork and beans or my fruit, especially my fruit. You know, you open those little cans of fruit, and that fruit could have been in there for who knows how long.
That's how people in the old days got lead poisoning, is from the cans. Obviously, canning is much better out of a glass jar.
Can we still get lead poisoning from the cans that we get from our green beans?
Well, they line them now with a what is that, BHP or
there's some sort of
plastic stuff that they put in
BPH.
there. That's toxic. BPH, thanks.
BPH.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, we'll find out that's bad for us, too, at some point.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Man. All right. Well, thanks for the conversation this afternoon. I appreciate those of you that called in. Carrie is so sharp. I just love that guy. We're going to take our top of the hour break, which means we're going to bring you an update from Salem Radio Network News. And then I'm going to let you meet a Navy man. Spent 10 years of his life giving to our country. And now he depends on the VA for his health care. What kind of treatment is he getting? You've heard the horror stories all around the country. You've heard the horror stories right here in Iowa. Is that just the pounding of the drums, or is that the real deal? We'll talk about that when we come back. Next, live here in Mac's World. Let me remind you something very, very important. It's time for a good revival in this country. You're going to get it. Family Leadership Summit 2016. It's going to be Saturday, July 9th. That's a week from this Saturday. Here in Des Moines, the event will feature Ann Graham Lotz, War Room actor T.C. Stallings, biblical worldview expert Dr. Del Tackett, and more. That's coming up, and I hope you get your tickets. The tickets are available now at thefamilyleader.com. Thefamilyleader.com. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love my job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Beast.